they're going to take a European team to Tomb of the Spider Queen. What do you think, Kaldor?
That's interesting.
I will say...
They are 3 and 2,
yeah.
so it's not like they are horrible on the map, but again, traditionally, this is a powerhouse for Europe, so not quite the choice that I expected from them. I must say that the map drafts in general from them, I find that a bit weird, because I actually thought originally they even chose Volskaya, but they didn't. But I would have banned Volskaya out over Curse. Liquid plays Volskaya and they're strong there, but you know what their standard picks are. I feel like at that point, Freedom, because we heard it in the interview too, they are so afraid of some of these pocket picks that they perceive, that they felt they needed to get rid of Curse because they associate Curse with the Vikings. Because especially at the event where we saw Freedom in Kiev, that's when Team Liquid played a lot of Vikings. But there was a reason for that. One of the main reasons was that when Liquid, for example, played against Fnatic, they acknowledged in the tournament that with a normal draft, they cannot win against Fnatic. So they said, hey, we're going to try and like blindside them a bit. And that's why they played so much Vikings. And I think that's still stuck in Freedom's head and triggered that original map ban. But I feel they should have banned Volskaya, and now bringing Liquid to Tomb is, I personally think, another mistake.
Well, the Vikings have shown up in Europe a few times, but it's a lot more as an Abathur counter.
Exactly.
So Liquid does seem just a whole lot more confident in their macro game, in their team fights. They finally feel like the confident Liquid of old, and they've got Maev, so they can bring that confident aggression alert.
In an offline event, Maev's going to do absolute work. One of the things that surprises me is the Medivh ban. After looking at game 1, what are you worried about? You perfectly countered that hero and is highly prioritized as Team Freedom took Medivh. Why not just go back to well? And also in this battleground in particular, Medivh isn't exactly the king of wave clear. So if Team Freedom did want to take that hero, I feel like Team Liquid would be letting them go into a trap.
I think the main concern there is like fast rotations between the lanes there, and then if you add something like Diablo there, it could have been Diablo Medivh and you have a ton of aggression, but Diablo Phoenix is still fantastic, Kaldor.
Yeah, Diablo Phoenix is absolutely gigantic, and Diablo on the map, of course, is insanely good. For me, the question is, what's the front line? And that's actually what I wanted to know. Are they heading into Garrosh again, or are they switching it over into Meridian? And Sport Billy showed in Phase 1, but also in Phase 2, incredible Garrosh play. So I'm pretty happy that they are falling back to that. I feel that draft in general is really strong. We've seen Maev so much in this tournament, and she has an insanely high win rate. There's so much aggression around her. You have now that triple melee side on Team Liquid with Blaze holding the bot lane, huge engage, this is Stain as well. All you need is really damage to follow up on it.
I think we need to see another strong backliner from Team Freedom. I see instances where Diablo Shadow charges in, he gets thrown by Garrosh, gets pulled by Maev, gets stunned by Blaze, and just has no impact on the team fight whatsoever. If they don't have that damage to force out a defensive posture from Team Liquid, it's going to get rough.
2 more picks now for Team Freedom, and Deckard Cain is still up, has made it all the way through to this point. That's what I would expect, or if they want a more like a faster follow-up crowd control, but that's what I would be expecting here. Any other thoughts?
No, I would absolutely Malfurion for them.
All right.
Liquid is going to be very happy about that. Leoric for the bot lane is not really too much of a shock, considering that Urel and Malpiel are banned out and Blaze taken. Leoric is great on the map, oftentimes taken by European teams too. But we have Malfurion with that, so that's a CC that you now have for that setup. But
it is faster to be able to have the roots in place. My concern is you've just picked Malfurion into a Maev, Garrosh, and Blaze too. There's a whole lot of dive in there too. Neuron gets his Deckard, now even horrified to try to disrupt some things from Freedom. Oh, now we see why.
The Tracer's definitely a curveball for me. I didn't expect that to be the hero choice. But if Lutano is going to pop off, I definitely feel like it could be Tracer in this instance. But if he gets taken down at any point, I think that's going to be the beginning of the story.
Kaldor?
What do you kill? I mean, Gul'dan is a hero that I personally didn't see coming in that slot. He has fallen off a lot in Europe. He was, of course, originally extremely powerful on Tomb because his wave play was so strong. Now that we have the 3rd ban in, a lot of teams have in the past already made the argument, hey, we can finally rely on mages again because we're now in a spot where we can ban out mobility. If you look at the bans here, they banned out Genji. They took Maev for themselves, so they eliminated a lot of the options that you normally see against the mage that allows them to play Gul'dan. We have seen good Gul'dan play from him. Now we see Tracer coming in as the threat against him, but I mean, if you look at that setup, the front line is strong, there's a ton of CC, you have Deckard Cain in the mix. I'm scared out of my mind for Freedom here.
Well, they need to get those kills if they have any chance of sending us to a Game 3. Back to Tetcher and Trixler for Game 2.
They need to get those kills.
Yeah.
That is, as Gilly said, is exactly what they need to be doing. And Tomb of the Spider Queen is a very fight-heavy map, but Europe have just been so favored on this in the past.
That's my issue right now. I look at Team Freedom, and I feel like they need to have a stellar early game here. They need to be open up the battleground, give more room for Tracer to really develop and find a couple of kills. But if you look over to Team Liquid, they're pretty set up when it comes to wave clear, controlling the poke on the turning point. I don't know, man. I'm a little worried, but let's go into it here as Team Liquid and Team Freedom face off in game number 2.
And on the left-hand side, it is going to be Team Liquid. With Nurok on Deckard, Eternal on Blaze, Hasselhoff's on Maiev, Arcana on Gul'dan, and Sportbilly is on Garrosh.
On the right side in the red, Yoda on Phoenix, Collusion on Malfurion, Lutano on Tracer, Zugrug on Diablo, Nazmus on Leoric. It is Team Freedom.
The last hope for North America in this upper bracket. They have their backs against the wall, and Team Freedom have decided to go back to as old-fashioned as you can get, and America have put their faith in the British, and they have pulled out the Tracer.
That they have here. And Lutana, I mean, he's pretty darn good on Tracer. If he can find those openings, he will definitely go for the punish. It's a matter of whether or not he can find those. Now, I do mention that Team Freedom, I feel like they have to have a strong early game. You want to be able to open up the map a little bit, but let's not go a little bit too hardcore onto that. The late game is actually pretty solid for Team Freedom. You have Diablo, who becomes a nuisance, especially with the Souls Knight stacked up, Leoric with a level 20 Entomb, and then you get level 20 on Phoenix, and he's almost unkillable. So they definitely have a strong stride between early and late game. It's that mid game I'm worried about. Team Liquid with the Horrifies is deadly.
The Horrifies could be the exact counter they need. Zugrog takes a lot of damage. We'll be able to pull back here, especially with the help of that spell shield that he's taken at level 1, the soul shield. But there's, oh my god, Lutano gets wrecked by that drained life. But there's also the potential, Team Freedom, they have an incredible engage in the mid stages with the Entomb Diablo charge. It's the classic one, if you don't have walls, we'll make our own walls.
Yeah.
The problem with that is, like you said, the Horrify. It could be such a game changer. And of course, the very classic move of Horrify into Warden's Cage is incredibly entertaining and could be so disrupting that Tracer's just going to get deleted.
One of the strengths about a Horrified too is that even if you get that web weaver turn in and you're pushing in your opponent, you never want to be Horrified into the middle of a fort. And then you mentioned the Warden's Cage on top of that, and they're going to be stuck into a spot where they might get taken out in jail. Now, Team Freedom's going to go ahead and control their early game so far. Decent amount of clearing out these waves. Some nice setups here by Zugrug, actually finding a combo on top of Garrosh.
He takes a little bit of damage himself, but Sportbilly is eaten down as Zugrug pulls off some fantastic body blocks, and they pick up the first blood. Very nicely done here by Freedom.
An important kill there for Team Freedom, especially trying to pick that up before level 4 connects. When Deckard King gets those shields on top of the potions, it's much harder to use that pulse bomb effectively to find those takedowns. So solid pickup there from Team Freedom, and it buys them a little space to drop off a couple of gems, 6 of them being dropped off here for now, as we continue to have them rotate as a 4-man unit.
Yoda eats quite a lot of corruption, gives a couple stacks over to Gul'dan. He's already on 9 at this stage of the game, not half bad. He's burning his way up there, but needs to be careful as he will be able to regen in the shield, so it's not the worst time to take the damage, but it's the stacks you want to avoid giving over to that Gul'dan there as Sportbilly. He's very cautious taking that potion because he doesn't want to get caught out with Malfurion roots.
I mean, there's a couple of stacks that are important for both of our teams here. Yeah. Over onto the left for Team Liquid, you have the Corruption at level 1, and as you mentioned, 11 stacks coming in. Groundbreaker for Sportbilly at 9. And then look over to Zugrug, 53 souls already as he's moving toward that level 100 goal.
Fantastic 2-lane rotations by Diablo is just so nice on this map. Able to pick up all the souls. As I also remember, you can see Lutano able to dodge the last corruption there. The wonderful LAN environment giving him so much micro capabilities here as he moves back into the mid lane.
Now, something that happens in Europe a lot, but I actually didn't see Team Freedom respond to too well. The bottom lane Giants is usually a main objective for you to pull into. You usually pull off your melee, run down there, grab the Giants with the help of your main solo laner, and Team Liquid was able to grab those Giants. And now with Leo on the bottom, he's trying to clear that out while Blaze takes that opportunity to rotate up to the middle lane, turn in what gems he has, and maybe move in for a jet propulsion. Team Freedom finally deals with it, but the 21 to 23 gems was bought there because Team Liquid was able to drop off a few of their gems.
And it was, but the fact that Freedom are able to keep up so well, at least at this stage, is pretty good. Nora keeps the Pulse Bomb. It's more of a zoning tool than anything else right now. Forces him to burn a few potions and some mana on himself. Hasu grabs a potion on the way as well as Thernal forced to back up, doesn't want to eat that drain life at all. No risky untouchable plays, we're sticking with the classic parting gift for Tracer here. She wants to get micros around. Hasu does pull in KZN right now, and he is in trouble, but the healing is good.
Unable to find the full kill, but Collusion does get low on health. Team Freedom will answer back in kind, do decent damage to Hasuops. But so far, a pretty stable game between our two teams. That one kill going in favor of Team Freedom early, and it's got them a little bit of an experience lead, but Team Liquid is definitely holding on. And remember, they're building towards that level 10. Warden's Cage, Horrify, finally getting that taunt online, which is where their team fight really explodes.
Speaking of exploding, Lutano does not want to, immediately blinks away after seeing that Vengeful Spirit, doesn't want anything to do with that. Both these teams have enough for the turn and both begin fighting over this bottom turning point. Diablo is still chilling in top lane though. This is a zoning idea here for Team Freedom. Going to try and keep Team Liquid away here, as the Malfurion nearly got his in, but was denied at the last second.
This is always very familiar. It's almost like a magic trick, right? You put all the pressure on the bottom lane, you try to have someone steep the top lane, drop off a few gems. Both teams prepared for that. Poor Billy taking a lot of pressure here on that front line. Goes around for a bit of a combo. Now this actually got some space here. He's going for the turn, and he has 27 gems. If he gets it,
he got it.
He does. Team Freedom will have the first web weavers of the game.
Nice move there, and Eternal, who had to move so far forward for that deny attempt, gets taken out by Tracer.
Lutano finding the kills here. And with one member down for 13 seconds, that will allow for Team Freedom to prep their lanes as aggressively as they would like. They already have the bottom lane pushing in, they have the middle lane starting to be pushed forward, and they had a Phoenix in the top lane getting that set up. So they should be able to take some turrets here. And if they play their cards right, they might be able to look towards getting that fort in that bottom lane.
Team Freedom, they saw what happened earlier, and they said that they will rise to the challenge as they take the first turn onto the Spider Queen. The pressure begins. Towers are the name of the game right now. A quick XP boost. If you can get a fort, though, that is going to be huge. Of course, towers do not give as much XP as they used to, so it's about setting up for future pressure.
Yep, you want your second turn in to be the one that delivers the deadly blow on those forts. And the top lane, Phoenix is helping push in those walls, and they will finally get cleared up. Garrosh doing his best to slow that down, while Nazmus has gotten all the way forward to be able to start putting damage on a well, and he does get it. So Team Freedom find themselves with a nice cushion of a lead at 9.25 to the 8.5 of Team Liquid.
Now the question is, how many gems were they able to pick up during that push? This is what you always want, to be able to pick up enough gems for, as you already mentioned it, that second turn-in, the snowball turn-in, if you will. So as the last web weaver falls, you can see they're 10 short, whereas Team Liquid are already able to do theirs. So now what Team Freedom need to do, they have control of the center of the map. They're just about to hit level 10. Now their #1 and basically only objective is to control the turning points, prevent Team Liquid getting their turn-in, and find 10 more gems.
I mean, Team Freedom's
11, I can count.
They are actually stomping in this early game, which is not traditional against a European team. Team Liquid is well aware of what the double turn-in can do if you allow it to happen, but they're so far behind right now, they kind of just have to just take the beating that's coming, deal with it, soak level 10 for themselves, and while Team Freedom sets up for those 55 gems they want to have to go for a turn-in, Team Liquid will just have to straight up just clear out lanes. They may lose all of their forts here and wait for keep defense.
Top and bot especially are made of paper mache at this point, whereas mid looks like it might be the stalwart defense line that they need. Team Liquid, they can maybe hold on to that, but the other two, the quicker they go down, the more pressure those web weavers will obviously put onto the tier 2. So it's juggling, protecting that last remaining tier 1 that might go down, and trying to stop tier 2 damage potential. But here come the web weavers. Team Freedom were able to achieve it, able to get that final turn in, but in that time, Liquid were able to get level 10.
Yeah, they delayed enough. That spell camp being picked up was enough to buy them a little bit more time. They were also waiting for their opponents to get the gems, so they do hit 10 themselves.
Contagion Disc coming in here, and the Lornado as well. That is a lot of disruption here.
Yeah, that it is. Team Liquid loves their Lornado play, especially against the Phoenix. And now, if that Containment Disc can hit Malfurion or Tracer, they will definitely all in on the idea of trying to delete Phoenix. Nurak loves attempting to go for that kill, so watch out for it.
Did I call it Contagion Disc? That'd be terrifying, mixing it with the level 20 from Darker. Isolate one person, silence the rest. But for now, they're going to begin moving in. Top 4 is definitely going to die. Bot has already died. As we already mentioned, it's all about mid right now. Can mid survive? And how much tier 2 pressure can they deny as well? They've already cleaned out the web weaver, so you can see they can rotate to begin clearing out those web weavers on the top and bot lanes to protect the tier 2s. But while they're gone, guess where Freedom's going? To exactly where their opponents aren't. But we still see a token defense coming in here, but with this pressure, this fort will fall.
Beautiful textbook play here from Team Freedom. This will give them a nice amount of experience here. They jump up. They are closing on the level 13. Team Liquid just kind of gritting their teeth as they have to sit here and wait for everything to be pushed in towards them. They finally will clear that out. Now, the good news for them is look at their gem count. They're sitting at 101. They have 2 automatic turn-ins available for them if they're able to drop those off. But also, there's always a trade-off that we have to talk about. If you have 101 gems on you and you can't get a turn-in, suddenly team fights, they don't look as appealing anymore.
DL, realizing that Team Freedom were ahead and didn't want to fight them, check the boss, see if that would be snuck away. Zagrog gets Lornado isolated out here. They begin moving in. Lutano from above is doing some crazy damage trick.
That he is. Arcana drops the drain life, trying to stay alive here. Lightning Breath will also come out, but Sportbilly can back up. But Eternal, not so lucky. He gets landed with an Entomb, and Team Freedom will wipe him off the map.
Zagrog popping off. Yoda eats all the corruption, but he's looking for Garrosh. The heals from Nuruk are good, but Leoric with the slows, they can't catch them. The route from the Deckard Kane zones them away, but that's still 1 kill for 0. It's still the turn-in denied, and it's still Team Freedom in control.
That's right. 13-11 right now. Full control of the battleground. They can start to push out the map. They can work on grabbing night camps. They can grab the Giants as well. The world is their oyster right now, where Team Liquid has to sit back and wait for Blaze to respawn. Now, Blaze has done so Team Liquid's going to step up and try to go for a little bit of a turn-in here. Nice, what is that, 38 gems available for Sportbilly. If he could drop those off, that would be the turn-in, but Team Freedom denies.
Tackle, this time interrupted by the Tornado for the disengage, and the Entomb just short. That would have been huge if it had landed, but now Blaze, seeing as he was not here, has been able to get an advantage here. They burnt a heroic, but yeah, they were still able to soak the experience, which means they're approaching the level 13. Team Freedom, though, that's why they tried to make that play. They already have it. They're miles away from their next turn-in. They have still quite a few more gems to grab here. Whereas Team Liquid, they're quite happy to play a little safer.
Yeah, Team Liquid is counting their lucky ducks there. Not getting caught by that Entomb, that would have really hurt Garrosh, especially with those gems available on top of them. Team Freedom was looking for that kill as they saw Blaze soaking the experience. Game's starting to level out a little bit, though. With Team Liquid about to hit level 13, they can look for another engage, and they'll have all the heroics back up and available.
With Team Liquid trying to desperately gain some map control and, more importantly, gain some ability to move on to the map and gain that level 13. And we see the drain onto Eternal, attacks through it, uses his own fire for healing. It's even a potion down for him if he really needs it. Level 13, probably going to be acquired from this lane and a little bit of mid lane, but Trace is zoning away from that at least a little. And all heroics are back off cooldown. That is the biggest deal for Liquid. They can do an even talents with everything off cooldown. This is where they can try and make the play once again.
They have to make it soon, though. Giants pushing in the bottom lane. Team Freedom is content with dancing around and allowing those Giants to break down that keep wall. If that keep wall is broken, that means later on Web Weavers will get that keep. Corruption Quest does finish off, and that's important, because at 16, Runes Affliction with Gul'dan will allow for him to shred any squishy target in the back line.
That could be insane here if that's what they go for, as long as they can get there. And they have, though, finally got themselves a turn-in. Now they can rotate to bot lane because this has been happening. Not fun. They can clean that up as quick as possible, but it was already able to grab a tower. Every weakness counts because it makes the Web Weaver push all that more effective to start grabbing the important structures, the forts, and the keeps.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how much Team Liquid can get off of this, but there are waves being pushed in. They, of course, want to defend, but it is a relief to drop off some of those gems. They finally will get to the wall in the middle lane, and with Team Freedom not quite having 16, they may not want to take a fight here and may just passively clear it up, which should give a little bit more room for Team Liquid to put in some damage. The wall's starting to get ticked down a little bit, but look in the bottom lane. That Web Weaver has yet to even move from their side of the map.
And even with the fact that Team Freedom have been in the lead, Yoda plays safe. He goes for the Adenium Shell here, giving himself that extra protection, that 50 armor when he teleports. He does not want to be the one who gets caught out because he is incredibly squishy.
Yep. You got to be careful with that Horrify too, and with such a big hitbox on Phoenix, you can get hit by any spell in the game. Sometimes it feels a little unfair here. Now Team Freedom has cleared off the middle lane. They did lose some turrets and lose that game, but hey, they're all right with that. They're about to hit level 16, so you see Team Liquid starting to dance back, realizing, okay, there is the threat of a team fight that can come our way, and we got to be careful. We still have a hefty amount of gems available on us.
And you can see Team Liquid, with all those gems, they decide what's their best option. They're behind on talents. It's to set a trap.
They are setting a trap. Phoenix is in the bottom lane.
Horrify is used. They dive after Tracer, who was able to escape that big cooldown burn there by Lutano.
I just see Lutano's face right now. He's just smiling right now. A little cheeky grin. You know how it comes up on the left side of his face? He's like, okay, that was a Horrify. But to be fair, that was the one opportunity Team Liquid would have to have for a fight for the next couple of minutes. They're not going to do much more here. Maybe grab a night camp. Maybe float around. No, they did grab the night camp. They'll float around here, wait for the Web Weavers to come their way, and defend it. Again, they are fighting for level 16 right now.
see the route attempted onto Leoric, but Leoric, he's gone, as is usual. As we see Team Freedom with yet another Web Weaver turn, and Team Liquid a level away from level 16. This is where Freedom are going to pile on the pressure. If they do not get a keep out of this, this will be a weak push by them. They will have failed in their goal.
I want them to clear out this middle wave and then rotate to the bottom lane. That's where they have the biggest opening for them to open up a keep and get some catapult pressure moving in, because remember those giants earlier were able to take down that gate and a little bit of that turret as well. So I should see them rotate down that lane if they can try to force a fight, and they're starting to finally do so. They leave Leoric in the top lane, so they'll have a pincer maneuver.
Split pressure. They're trying to force Team Liquid to split. Team Liquid's advantage comes when they can isolate someone with Lornado and get a blow-up. So instead, they're deciding to separate Leoric out. They've got Lutano so far away from the rest of his team here. They kill off the sidewall. Lornado is good. It's exactly what they were looking for. There's the Horrify back off cooldown, but once again, Yoda is able to stay near his team. The Horrify not pushing him in the direction they wanted.
Here comes Nasmus. He will have that Entomb available, but the Web Weaver has been dealt with. Finally will be expiring with one more hit from the Fell Flame. Team Freedom keeps up with it, though. They keep pushing in the middle lane. They have the ability to rotate down this bottom left lane and finally put some damage on that fort. In fact, Lutano's already here.
With that Web Weaver there, it forces the reaction from at least one member of Team Liquid, meaning that they have better pressure on this mid lane. They're not going to be able to get a keep, though. A decent defense here by Team Liquid, blowing so many heroics. Not able to get a kill, though, is really a downside for them. They would have loved to have picked up that Phoenix in that fight, but unfortunately, having that shut down means that Team Liquid, they're still in the back foot. Now they're just waiting for the next turn of their opponents, but on the saving grace, once again, they are actually on even talent still. They can move in. It's not close to 20 for Team Freedom. This is still a chance for them, and with no catapult pressure, they're going to try and make a play.
I'm actually worried for Team Freedom here. With Ruinous Affliction online for Gazzo, the ability for taunts to come out, Containment Disc to force the engages that you want, they should be able to grab this turn in, and they do drop off a few of these gems. Fort Billy has 42 available for Team Liquid to get that turn in. But Team Liquid, if they can start to find some momentum here, they can start to roll and maybe even fight in 21st. Team Freedom has to stay clean, but also deny what they can.
Comeback XP is so important in this game. If you can get that turnaround, and it's going to be so much pressure on Sport Billy here. If he can get someone out of position, even if it's Leoric, if the follow-up CC is quick enough, they can get him. But it's all about that right now as Yoda is working on these Sea Giants down in bot lane. No one from Team Liquid is anywhere near. They're busy on their own Bruiser camp at the moment, as Blaze is busy soaking top lane, safely staying away just in case this happened exactly, in case someone came to gank.
Yeah, just punishing how scared Team Liquid has to play right now, which is rightfully so with how many gems they have available on them. Lutano begins a dance, building for that pulse bomb, like having that available for whenever they do break from that fight. Team Freedom's main goal now, once you hit that 18.5 threshold, is to build for that level 20. Maybe you go for a turn in and try to hit the turn in while hitting level 20 to go for a kill maneuver, but they're just playing it safe. Corruption comes out, Zugger will be pulled on in, another lockdown here from Nurok.
Here comes the salvo, only catches cooldown, Vault of the Wardens, and Nurok, sorry, Nurok eats a lot of damage, heals himself, gets in the bunker, but he's putting the ground, his ball, but he's taken out. Where's the front line now, as Nasmus moves forward?
Another engage comes in, Hasselhoff goes to the vault, but Lutano, he's on him like rice, goes in and gets a pickup. Immediately, we have the Leoric going for the engage, slowing down targets as well as Gul'dan will be the next to fall. Team Liquid only has 2, and Team Freedom wipes Team Liquid.
Lutano picks up so many kills. Great turnaround by Team Freedom. After what was a reasonable positioning by Team Liquid, just got shut down by that Diablo.
I mean, Nurok was a little bit too far forward. He didn't expect Yoda to come in for the major flank, and Yoda got the full duration of damage on top of him, using Lornado, even the bunker to try and escape, but he was just too darn low. Team Liquid goes for a pick here on the bottom lane, but what they're trying to do is actually move in and go for the turn-in. They know their opponents are on boss. They want to buy some wiggle room, but Team Freedom is denying it.
This might result in a kill. Nurok in trouble, gets the Lornado in the Entomb, uses the Entomb as an escape route, drops the root and will get out, burning the heroic to do so.
Team Freedom's okay with that. Yeah. They stop the turn-in, which means they can put full pressure on the battleground with Web Weavers and the boss. They can go for the kill maneuver now, because they're also about to hit level 20. Team Freedom might get a win here against Team Liquid.
And Leoric weakened this top lane earlier on. Team Freedom, the hope of North America, rush to the top lane. Leoric will be joining them right after he grabs the fountain. He is on the way. Level 20 is online, Trick.
Team Liquid will have to play composed here. They have to play a perfect defense or they will be going to a game number 3. Automatically, they put some damage here on top of the boss, but the Web Weavers are right behind. The boss is down to half health. Sport Billy goes in with a groundbreaker.
Taunt. Sport Billy looking for the turnaround, but no one's in position to follow up on him. Arcada drops the Horrify. Yoda is the target. He eats so much damage. Sport Billy is barely able to survive, but that zoning lightning weapon series. The Buried Alive is going to take out Sport. No, he tanks through it, but instead it's going to be Gul'dan who dies as Sorokarok looks for more.
It doesn't matter. Gul'dan is dead. Gul'dan is the one that has the main wave clear for Team Liquid. That is their main source of defense. Team Freedom can keep charging forward, and they know it. They jump on top of the core, and they start to burn through it quickly. 50, down to 40, down to 30. Team Freedom, the last hope of North America to take on Europe, is going to get a win and take us to game number 3.
Super impressive fight. Team Freedom from start to finish. In full control of that game. Absolutely incredible. And the North American hope in the upper bracket stays alive.
I mean, that's a European map. Team Liquid knew what Team Freedom wanted to do, and Team Freedom was able to do it better than them. Team Liquid just didn't have the full defense overall, and when Team Freedom able to pull in a couple of giants and really kind of scratch away at the lead that they had, were able to put Team Liquid on the back foot, and they just could never respond.
9 kills to 0. A relatively low kill game there in the end, but the map control is really where you saw everything go downhill from start to finish. Turners were denied, and then they got low value. You mentioned it was a little rough when they weren't getting the keeps in that first tier 2 Web Weaver push, but they turned it around with a fantastic fight.
Well, over to the analyst desk to see what they think about that game.
I see a NA team willing to take a European team to Tomb, and I get scared, but the idea that they could combo turn-ins that well, that's the big deal that European teams had over NA teams. And then that one fight that Freedom were willing to take, Haloran, that they took that fight and then they won it, even when they had lost keeps. This looks like a different Freedom from the first game.
An entirely different Freedom. I'm loving that this team is finally showing some signs of life. For both of these teams, the heart and soul of how these teams go for the rest of the year are on the line. Both of these teams have played each other before. I know that there's part of Team Liquid that's like, not again, not like this. I'm so glad to see Team Freedom not play pedestrian, to get aggressive. That was amazing.
I also talked to Mopsio a bit about the 2 lineups and the drafts that were being used there, and he actually made a really good point that when we first looked at the draft, I didn't even catch up on immediately, but we talked a lot about Muradin and Garrosh and what the choice here is and how good Sport Billy is on Garrosh. He had a massive problem there because he didn't really have anyone that he could get on. The only 2 heroes that he can literally flip are Diablo and Leoric, and both of them don't care. Diablo is absolutely fine once he has a soul to get flipped in because it puts him in the better spot to actually engage. And outside of that, Billy just stands there and is target practice for Phoenix and Tracer, who he should never be able to get close on anyways. So the entire setup worked really well for Freedom, and I love that the coordination was also a lot stronger. I have one game and one quick replay, and this is actually what led to the final push there. And this is where we can see that there is just not a lot of cohesion of Team Liquid when they're trying to get the kills. Nurok, first of all, is able to escape here with a good Lornado, and then the bunker comes out, but Garrosh already falls, he was stuck at the right, and it just snowballs from there. That's 40 gems gone already on Garrosh alone, and then it's just a cleanup job. Hazu falls, loses a few more, and they even go for Arcana. So this is just Freedom realizing immediately that this is the moment to fight. And this was the only chance for Liquid to try and make a comeback, because that was the moment they hit 16. So there was like, yeah, we're 2 levels behind, we're stats behind, but we're in a position where we now finally have even talents. They look for the turn-in, and then that happens. They are completely split. Freedom drives a wedge into the team and just takes them apart. So that was extremely well executed by them and led directly to boss turn-in and then GG.
And that's the moment that is differentiating this Team Freedom from Team Freedom in Phase 1, because Freedom in Phase 1 would have tried to rotate around, manipulate what they could, get camps, just try to play the slow game to 20. And because they didn't get keeps, they had to take that fight because they could not allow Team Liquid to just undo everything that they did.
It's actually a bit of a danger if you play against Liquid on this map. We had a few games now in Phase 1 and also now in part 1 of Phase 2 where Liquid holds on to the game like forever, loses keep after keep. And we had specifically one instance when Nurok went up against the Phoenix when he was playing Deckard, and the entire game they just get pummeled into the ground, and then towards the end of the push, Nurok finds one Lornado to interrupt the warp on Phoenix. They get the kill, snowball it from the kill, and turn the game around. So even when they're 2-3 levels behind, you can't count them out. They're insanely strong when it comes to comebacks.
Right. Haloran, final thoughts on that game before we go to a commercial break?
The Lornado got a ton of value, but I love that aggression from Diablo and Leoric. work. We need to see Freedom continue to play that aggressive style and find that backline follow-up from Tracer. They need to play like that again if they want to win.
Well, we're going to have a Game 3, and you can't ask for more than that. We'll be back soon with that Game 3. Stay tuned.